Today on Vintage Steel Garage we're fixing a strimmer for a friend of mine. Okay, so today we're having a look at a poor running strimmer, which is probably a common problem. We've been through this before with another strimmer, and the main thing is to check for spark, fuel and compression. The other thing with strimmers are they're two-stroke, which means you have to put oil in the fuel at a mixture of a ratio of 40:1. Now my hunch will be A, the plug will be oiled up and fouled up and want replacing, and B, the mixture is going to be wrong. Now the mixture could be wrong for a number of things. You could have actually mixed it wrong, put too much oil in with the fuel, or more than likely it's been in there for a while, the fuel's evaporated, the oil's not going to evaporate off, that oil will stay there, and then you keep adding more and more pre-mixed fuel in, and obviously the oil concentrate gets higher. So what we're going to do, first of all we're going to check we've got a spark, take the plug out, let's have a look at that and see what we've got. As I suspect, the plug is pretty oiled up, so we will clean that up, but for now we're going to put a new plug in. But we check we've got a spark first. So you just got to make sure it's in the run position, put the plug in, pull the grip cord. Yeah, that's sparking nice through my leg there, that made me jump. So let's drain the old fuel off and have a look at that. Just so happens to have a lot of two-stroke fuel lying around because a friend of mine dropped some off that he'd been using in his racing cars, but he wanted to get rid of it because it's probably not the freshest of fuel, but it's still a few octanes left in it, which I'm sure are going to work for this. That's the new fuel I've got with the oil mixed in, and that's the fuel I've taken out. Now the difference in colour really could be just down to different types of oil that have been used. It doesn't look too bad this, but we'll just get rid of it because it's eliminated two things. We've eliminated the fuel and we've eliminated the spark plug problem, and we'll see if we can get it running from there. Two-stroke engines, I'd probably always just put a fresh spark plug in, it's just easier. I'm going to show you how to clean them. Actually I've got a spark plug cleaner and show you what to do, but for this I just put this in. It's very important when you put a new spark plug in to check you got the gap right, and yep, that looks right. You're first starting it, just make sure there's some choke on it. If you're not sure what the choke position is on or off, the easiest thing to do is just take this off here. Have a look here, you can see with the choke on, it's basically covering the hole, and when you lift that up, the hole is showing. So that's full choke, that's choke off. So we'll start with choke on, put the filter back on. So choke on. Okay, so it's still not running too good, so what I'm going to do is take the carb off and have a look inside in case it's a little bit gummed up inside. It seems to be that you're opening the throttle up, it's probably sucking air in but not enough fuel in, and that's why it's just bogging down. So take the carb off. The carbs are actually held on here by these two out-mill studs, so if we just take these off, obviously just making a note of how it's all assembled, where the fuel lines are. Throw the screws all over throw the screws all over the floor. Yeah, well, maybe we didn't need that bit. Put my old man specs on, then I can see what's happening. Yep, didn't need that bit either. So just set the air filter body off with the choke. Now this should also slide off, so we're just going to take the fuel hoses off. Let's just off, just take the fuel lines off. There we go, carburetor off. Okay, so we've got the carburetor off. Not much to these carburetors really. Pretty simple carburetor, just a little simple fuel bowl at the bottom, and it'll suck fuel up. And as you open this, you'll see as it opens up the throttle, you can see it just lets the air in there, and also as it's doing that, it then just lifts the needle up as well. Take it apart, see what we can see inside. Not much to these at all really, 4 screws on the bottom. So this is really the float bowl with the fuel in there. Right, so that's that off. Remember, just as you take them apart, make sure you keep everything in the way it came apart so we don't end up introducing any problems. So put that there, put that there. Seems alright, there's no dirt in there. Don't see any major problems with that. Little diaphragm on the bottom here, let's tease this off without tearing it. There we go, so we've got that off. That was that way up. There's a bit of dirt in there. And that there is going to be the needle which pulls the fuel in. So that should come off there as well. I think what we'll do, we'll just get an airline, blow all the crap out of this, make sure everything's okay, reassemble it and see what happens. So again, you've got to be so careful pulling these gaskets off, you don't want to tear them. Just inch them off like that. There's so many little bleed screws throughout this. That is obviously some sort of float needle. It's obviously a jet there in the middle. Let's just blow all the crap out of this, put it back together. Okay, so we've blown everything out with an airline, it's just now the case of reassembling it. So start off with the actual carburetor body. Don't know how to tighten the screws, just give them a nipple. So there's not a lot else you can do really, just make sure the carburetor still functions. And that's it. Now my memory card actually was full then, and I'm not sure in the excitement of where it got up to, but I had put the carburetor back on, put the accelerator linkage on, and I had, if you remember earlier, I'd lost a nut. Now quite funny really, because the guy I'm rebuilding this for sent me a little funny meme sent me a little funny meme via text of someone looking at a little monkey looking for a nut, and yeah, I lost it. However, it has been found. Well, it was found, I've lost it again. Aha. Found. My trusty little magnet on the floor. Right, so let's get this on and then we'll get it fired up. So I've changed the fuel, changed the spark plug, and it's still not running. But another problem you have with two-stroke engines is you can actually get a build-up of back pressure in the exhaust, and you can get something that's called a spark arrest blocked in the exhaust. And basically the spark arrest is to stop sparks, as it's saying, arresting them, flying out the exhaust. And if you're in, I don't know, some scrubland or something where it's very dry, starting a fire. Just inside, under these screws, you'll see a little gauze. That metal gauze there, that is the spark arrest. Now you can see obviously on this one we can actually see through it, but it can actually get blocked up with carbon that and then cause back pressure on the exhaust. And all you need to do is heat that up, give it a clean with a wire brush, and that'll be ready to go. So we're going to put that back together, get the exhaust on, and then I'll show you something else that I found wrong. One of the other problems I spotted with this was when I'd run it before, I noticed when I took the fuel cap off it was pressurised. And I don't think that's right, because one of these is flow and one's return back, and I think this one should be short enough that it's actually out the fuel and it was actually in the fuel, causing a bit of a pressure to build up in the tank. And also the hoses have gone hard on them, which they do with the fuel. So I bought some new hose lines to test that, but what I'm going to do is just try running it with this off and see how that runs and see if I can get it to rev up, because that would explain why when you open the throttle up it starves itself of fuel because it can't extract it out of the tank and it cuts out. But let's try that and see. So we'll put the choke on and see if we can get it running. Nice. So I've had the carb off and it did run better, but it's still not quite there. But what I also noticed is on some of these other carbs on the internet, they have a mixture screw that you can adjust, which is about here. Now if you have a look at this screw, which is the idle adjustment screw there for the tick over, you can just see, or hopefully you'll see, there's a little screw with a little nick out of it there, so there's obviously a special socket for that, and that is exactly the same one there. And that is usually in the position of the adjustment screw on other carburetors. Now I could actually just junk this and buy a new carburetor for £5, which is the easy answer, but I'm going to see if I can actually get it running, just because I want to really. I mean basically it also avoids me working on my Dodge Dart, which I can't get running. So if I can't get a single lawnmower, two-stroke lawnmower running, I should just about give up. But in case I did need to buy a new carb, I'm just having a look at, so that's 11.8, call it 12mm internal diameter, and that's 9mm. So in case any want to see one on the Tinterweb, that's what I can look for. So let me see if I can somehow get to this here and adjust it. So what I should have done is found a tool that fitted this, because if it fitted this it would also fit this adjustment screw, but I didn't do that. So what I did, I just hacksawed a slot in it so I could get a screwdriver in and I could remove it. Now I counted that 2 full turns out from being fully seated, so it's important to know where you are, so I've got a reference point. And so you can see there, that is a little adjustment screw. So that will be like some sort of air bleed or mixture screw. So I'm hopefully now I've got a little bit of adjustment on the carburetor, that must have been factory set, so I'm going to put it back into the 2 turns fully in, rebuild the carburetor, put it back together and see what we've got. So carb's all built back up. Let's give it a go and see if we can get it running, get the choke off, and then see if we can just that little screw that we put the slot in to just richen the mixture up a little bit and get it to actually run at full throttle. Fingers crossed. So that's the screw. I'm going to try adjusting there. Let's see if we can get it up and running and see what happens. Now before I do adjust this screw, because you probably won't hear me when it's running, it's 2 screws all the way out, which is where I've had it set, and it really only needs probably half a turn either way adjustment. Very small adjustments. You're not sort of like winding it 4 screws out because you'll be well out of adjustment. So let's give this a go, see what we can do. Choke on. There we go, success. Now what you'll actually find is I haven't actually adjusted this screw off the original factory setting, which is good, but what I think is probably actually happened is I've taken the screw out, cleaned it, probably cleared something that was blocking the idle circuit, put that screw back in exactly at the same point, and it's running absolutely sweet. So the only thing we need to do now is change the fuel lines, which are coming in a few days, and then it's good to go. So I'm going to give it a test on my front garden. Okay, so let's give it a go now. I haven't put the cover on the back of the engine yet because I'm going to have to change these fuel lines. Well, let's just see if we can get it fired up and actually trim some grass. So that works fine. If you notice, for those observant, it is leaking fuel, but that's because I've just got the vent pipe to atmosphere, whereas normally it should be in the tank. So hose comes tomorrow, rebuilt, back to its owner, sure he'll be happy. So thanks for watching, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll get back on the dart soon. Thank you.